In the heart of Moscow, a city where secrets hide behind every shadow, a deadly game was unfolding. Imagine the shocking moment, an entire war's fate hanging in the balance, and it all changed in an instant. A car bomb, placed so precisely beneath the driver's seat, detonated with brutal force, forever altering the country's power structure. Faneel Sarvarov, a top military strategist and mastermind behind Russia's war plans, sat unaware that his last day had begun. On a cold December morning, as he stepped into his vehicle, a Kia Sorento, he couldn't imagine that his revenge was already waiting in the passenger seat. Just meters from his front door, a hidden trap was about to trigger, unleashing chaos that would shake the Kremlin to its core. As the blast ripped through the crisp air, it wasn't just a car that was destroyed, but the very nerve center of Russian military command. The explosion shattered security protocols in Moscow, sending shockwaves through government corridors and igniting fears of a new wave of targeted strikes. The sounds of the blast echoed like thunder, drowning out the distant hum of thousands of drones assaulting Ukraine. Eyewitnesses saw the driver lose control, the vehicle spinning wildly before coming to a halt. Serious injuries were reported, but Sarvarov was pulled from the wreckage too late, his life extinguished in an instant. The image of Svetlana Petrenko, the investigative committee spokeswoman, standing before cameras with a look of stark concern, captured the nervous tremor creeping over Kremlin officials. Who was Sarvarov? And why had he become the prime target of Ukrainian intelligence? Born in 1969, Sarvarov wasn't just a bureaucrat, he was the very blueprint of Russia's military muscle. Since 2016, he directed training for troops invading Ukraine, shaping their tactics, scenarios, and strategies. From conflicts in Ossetia and Chechnya to Syria's bloody battlegrounds, his signature adorned every operation. His death was more than a loss, it was a systematic blow against Russia's war machine. Sarvarov wasn't just a figure at the top of the chain, he was the person who coordinated missile strikes on civilian infrastructure, wrote the chaos-inducing plans, and trained the generals for battle. For Kiev, he was a more formidable adversary than any soldier in the field, because he was the master of their movements, the teacher of their triggers. This attack signaled a terrifying truth: Ukrainian intelligence was capable of reaching into the depths of Moscow itself. Official statements from Russia's investigative body subtly confirmed what many suspected: security in the capital had been compromised. The knife-edge war was no longer confined to front lines. It had invaded the very core of Russia's power. The implications are staggering. The same growing list of targeted assassinations reveals a disturbing pattern. Senior generals, once safe behind defenses, are now being eradicated by meticulously planned car bombs. In April 2025, Lieutenant General Yaroslav Moskalik was killed near Moscow. Just like Sarvarov, his car exploded under mysterious circumstances. On the front lines, the danger is just as relentless. Talented commanders like Lieutenant General Oleg Sokov were taken out by missile strikes, their death rattling the foundations of the Russian army's confidence. Even pilots flying support aircraft have fallen victim to these lethal attacks, shot down by Stingers, their aircraft crashing into the earth in silent fury. This relentless targeting sends a clear message: no one is untouchable. No bunker, jet, or mansion can guarantee safety. The Kremlin's own elite are trembling, knowing they're vulnerable in a way they never anticipated. Sarvarov's assassination isn't just a tactical victory, it's a strategic upheaval. Russia's command structure is bleeding out, piece by piece, as Ukrainian hand traces its way into Moscow. The chaos within Russia's corridors intensifies. The death of a high-ranking general isn't isolated, it's part of a larger campaign. The same dangerous web stretches into the shadows of the legal and political worlds. Figures close to Putin are falling victim to strange accidents, deaths that don't add up, hints of mounting internal chaos. Imagine the tension, danger in every handshake, suspicion lurking behind every door. The battlefield isn't just in Ukraine anymore, it's now inside Russia's own borders, in its streets, homes, and hidden power corridors. The fragile balance of control is cracking, and the truth remains horrifying: the war has entered a new, deadlier phase. In this eerie landscape of secret wars and unseen enemies, one question remains: how far will this deadly spiral go? And who's next in line to vanish? The beat of silence is deafening. And the shadows hide a storm that's just beginning. In the shadowed heart of Moscow, a single spark ignited chaos. Russian Lieutenant General Faneel Sarvarov, slain by a bomb beneath his car, exposed the cracks in Putin's empire. As 1,300 lethal drones terrorized Ukraine's lines, vengeance struck from within the Kremlin's own core. On December 22, that morning blast silenced the distant hum, erasing the war's mastermind. Now, terror grips Moscow's elite, for no fortress stands impervious. Can you hear the engine revving, feel the chill Moscow air biting your skin, smell the faint exhaust mixing with morning frost? Seconds after getting in, the world erupted. A deafening boom ripped through Yasenabaya Street, metal twisting like tortured screams, glass shattering into deadly rain. The improvised explosive device, or IED, planted under the chassis, right below his seat, detonated via remote trigger or motion sensor. Heat scorched the air, vibrations pulsing through nearby walls, as if the city trembled in fear. And when the smoke cleared? Panic replaced protocol. Witnesses described the driver, slammed by the blast's force, weaving wildly before crumpling against the curb. Fresh bloodstains on leather seats, sirens wailing like wounded beasts, he was rushed to a hospital. Yet, wounds proved fatal, Sarvarov succumbed, his body ravaged, leaving a void echoing louder than gunfire. Imagine Svetlana Petrenko's face on those cameras, tight lips, darting eyes, voice edged with unease. As spokesperson for Russia's investigative committee, she confessed investigations spanned angles. But her words betrayed truth, pointing squarely at one culprit. Why? Because in Russia's heart, shields had failed. Who was this phantom haunt, Faneel Sarvarov, born in 1969? Not merely a man in uniform, but the architect of brutality. Major General since 2016, leading operational training for the General Staff, he scripted invasions like a dark composer. From Ossetian skirmishes to Chechen flames, Syrian horrors, he penned drills that shaped every brutal march. Under his guidance, soldiers rehearsed scenarios, honed tactics for Ukraine's bloodied fields. Did he target civilians, weave plans that smashed infrastructure? Absolutely, his desk birthed those games of doom. To Kiev's leaders, he outmatched trench fighters, he tutored killers, dictating when and how triggers fell. Russia's own admissions whispered defeat. Petrenko's blame on Ukrainian intelligence? A naked confession. The state, once invincible, now bled in its capital. Iced. Skirmishes from Chechnya to Syria scarred his legacy. Pauses for breaths. His death wasn't mere loss, it struck the core. In Ukraine's agony, Sarvarov coordinated strikes on civilians, drafting invasion blueprints like poison scripts. For Kiev, he embodied menace, a mentor teaching trigger pulls over miles of mud. Russia's probing voices hid shame, they can't shield brains in shelters. This act defied isolation, echoing Kirillov's December 2024 end, retaliating Ukraine's drone plagues. Kiev stayed silent, confidences aflame with victory. Frontline wars morphed into bedroom infiltrations, assassinations eroding command chains. Sarvarov's void paralyzed adaptation, signaling strategic collapse. Partisan webs, like Atesh's in Crimea. Spied on elites, bomb-planting shadows exploiting voids. Oligarch fates, Avran's accident, fueled bedlam. Russian bureaucracy froze in dread, unable to guard even Moscow's nights. Ukraine's doctrine succeeded, expose Russia's vulnerability, humiliate through precision. Each general's fall, a twist in the tale, mocking invincibility. Where next? Pedo bomb under chassis. Terrible roar. Blast shattered vehicle. Driver injured gravely. Taken to hospital. Died from wounds. Petrenko's grim visage. Spokeswoman's clamped jaw. Cameras caught unease. Kremlin corridors whispered doubt. Probe from all sides claimed. Yet finger pointed one way. Hark! Could a man unnoticed, born into shadows, dream of such power? Faneel Sarvarov emerged not as a star, but a puppet master in camouflage. Enter 1969, his inception, but rise through ranks forged in fire. By 2016, Major General Helm, operational training spearhead for General Staff. Pauses for sensory recall. Crude oil stench of fields, gunpowder acrid bite, earth tremors under boots, he shaped army muscle, scenarios drilled like rituals. Vessels from Georgia's ashes, Chechnya's infernos, Syria's ruins bore his mark. Theoretical fictions became cruel realities in campaigns wild. Every aggressive thrust against Ukraine flowed through him. Civilian targets coordinated, invasion drills penned as if games, but stakes lethal. Kiev's strategists saw deeper peril, not grunt with rifle, but sage who instructed aim. He dictated when and how, teacher in trigger arts. Earth's chill gripped thinkers. Russian committee admissions veiled surrender. Petrenko's Ukrainian accusation? Empire's blunder exposed. No sanctuary in capital, walls cracked. Linked to past bloodsheds unburied. Kirillov's eerily similar demise in December 2024 resurfaced, revenge for drone hordes. Ukrainian silence screamed complicity, warmth of dawn had icy intent. War evolved beyond trenches, slipping into enemy lairs. Assassinations carved command decay. Sarvarov's erasure crippled learning, a tactical hemorrhage. Yet deeper, strategic haze, homeland bled. Hybrid warfare bore fruit, Ukrainian intelligence splicing partisan spies. Atesh's Crimea tentacles will watch over bases, personnel paths, generals' mundane routines. Bomber's hand? Phantom in vacuum, exploiting leaks. Elite fear swelled, Avran's boat tragedy near Moscow hinted oligarch purges. Confusion reigned, ally or assassin? Paralysis seized bureaucracy, seasoned generals hesitated at vehicles. Unpredictable downfall bred dread. Ukraine's strategy humiliated, unmasking hubris. Each casualty a thread unraveled, inviting more voids. Twist loomed, could Moscow's ghosts turn tables? 5-star shops. In the icy grip of Moscow's dawn, fate whispered through wheels and wires, a bomb hidden under the car of Russian Lieutenant General Faneel Sarvarov turned an ordinary morning into a thunderous end, shaking the Kremlin's iron gates. As lethal drones screamed across Ukraine's skies like relentless wasps, this single blast echoed a direct, piercing reply from the shadows of the enemy's own capital. December 22 marked the day Russia's war doctrine crumbled, not on distant battlefields, but in a blast that drowned out the hum of 1,000 machines. The man behind the army's brutal playbook, Major General Faneel Sarvarov, head of the Operational Training Department in Russia's General Staff, met his demise under his own windshield. He lost control of his Kia Sorento, the engine's hot metal scent mixing with acrid smoke, as shrapnel tore through the air like invisible knives. Taken away with wounds too deep, he succumbed in the sterile chill of a hospital room. Svetlana Petrenko, the stern-faced spokesperson for Russia's investigative committee, blinked under cameras, her words betraying the cold sweat in power's highest halls. Investigations spanned angles, but her eyes fixed on one painful truth. Who was this Faneel Sarvarov, threading the needle of Kiev's deepest fears? Born in 1969, no mere badge holder, he forged the reflexes of Russia's warriors. From the jagged mountains of Ossetia and Georgia's hotspots to Chechnya's fiery storms and Syria's ruins, his desk birthed the blueprints for chaos. In Ukraine's invasion, he orchestrated the drills for targeting innocents' lives, fueling the drone horrors that haunted civilians underground. For Kiev's leaders, he loomed larger than any frontline grunt. He was the master trainer, scripting when triggers should fall. Russia's own investigations whispered an unspoken defeat. By naming Ukrainian intelligence, they admitted a breach into their core, generals trembling at garage doors. This wasn't lone madness. Echoes of Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov, slain in a similar shadowed strike just last December, painted a pattern. Those blasts, in Moscow's garages and lots, retaliated against the infernal drone barrage Russia unleashed, tens of thousands of buzzing terrors. Kiev stayed hushed, lips sealed, no boasts, no claims. But as flames licked Moscow's heart, their silence pulsed with quiet triumph, a message sliced into the enemy's flesh. Imagine the classic front lines dissolving, war slithering into Russia's intimate chambers, bedrooms of safety invaded by silent knives, subtle explosions, crafted intelligence webs. Sarvarov's death carved a gaping vacancy, the sharpest thread in unraveling Russia's command tapestry. Since the invasion's black sun rose, a ruthless purge unfolded, generals erased like chalked mistakes, an unseen hand, Ukrainian in soul and soldier, eradicating key minds with chilling efficiency. Sarvarov, one knot in a tightening noose, not the start, certainly not the end. Unveiling Kiev's deadly roster reveals the wreckage sown on Russia's forces, At least 10 elite generals confirmed erased in precise Ukrainian strikes, each a vital heartbeat in the war engine. Names etched in blood. Cogs stripped away with expert cruelty. Leading the grim parade, Lieutenant General Yaroslav Moskalik, obliterated near Moscow in Belmak village just April past, mere months before Sarvarov's doom. He, too, a main operations director at pillar in the general staff, vaporized by a car explosive's fury. Moscow's boulevards morphed into phantom zones, generals hunted in their own yards, the air thick with paranoia. Diving deeper into this slaughter list, the front lines claimed their tolls too. July 2023 saw Lieutenant General Oleg Sokolov crumple under a storm's shadow missiles howl, his command post in Berdyansk reduced to rubble, the 58th Army's brains dashed, southern defenses swaying like a wounded beast. June that year, Major General Sergei Goryachev fell victim to another missile scream during Ukraine's relentless counter-push, his life snuffed in the thunderclap. Even the skies wept for Russia's air warriors. Retired Major General Kanamat Vadashev, piloting a Sukhoi Su-25 for Wagner's ranks, spiraled from Luhansk's heavens in May 2022, stung by a Stinger's fiery bite. Generals aloft? Illusion shattered. Early wars Major General Andrei Sukovetsky, helm of the famed VDV air assault forces, dropped in a sniper's distant whisper, a long-range ghost exposing command shields as paper walls. Major General Vladimir Frolov, Mariupol's Grim Reaper, Lieutenant General Roman Kutuzov, extinguished in Donbass's smoke, Major General Mikhail Gudkov, downed over Kursk, then Major General Pavel Klementiev, erased by a suicide drone's final lunge in November 2024. Each name, a chasm in Russia's hierarchy. Voids aching to heal yet impossible to fill without echoes of fear. What ghastly picture emerges here? Russia's protectors fail, bunkers crumble, jets plummet, Moscow mansions bleed. With Sarvarov's car erupting like a volcano, Ukrainian spies hurl this staggered taunt, unleash 1,300 drones on our homes, and we unearth the puppet master who commands them, right at his doorstep. Panic ripples through Russian ranks, generals eyeing car keys like serpents. Sarvarov's fall cripples training tides, kill the coach, and the team's learning stalls. This Moscow execution transcends tactics. It's a security siege, walls shattered, the Kremlin's sanctuary unveiled as fragile myth. Russia's admissions, fingering Ukrainian shadows, unleash their deepest dread, assault breaching innermost realms. This assassination vortex? Fruit of hybrid warfare, spun by Kiev's agents, partisans, moles tunneling deep. Groups like Atesh morph into vast eyes, shadowing bases, routines, generals' routines, planting invisible threats in unguarded cracks. That hand on Sarvarov's undercarriage? Perhaps no mere hitter, but a specter born from Russia's own failings. Oligarchs tremble too, think Viktor Avrin, tied to Putin's kin, mysteriously claimed by Moscow waters, an accident in a sea of chaos, elites plummeting amid blurred loyalties. Frenzy festers, allies dissolving into enemies, a haze of distrust poisoning the air. What hidden hand will strike next, unraveling the threads faster than they can be rewoven? A chill hangs, generals freezing in hesitation. Yet, is this the peak of erosion, or just a tremor building into earthquake? As Sarvarov's echo fades, whispers of more voids pulse, experience drains like leaking blood, bureaucracy numbs under paralysis. Will Russia's machine stutter to a halt, or rise anew from cinders? The void widens, unseen forces chipping away, second by second. In our previous installment, the deadly chain of Ukrainian strikes has eliminated at least 10 high-profile Russian generals, each a vital gear in Moscow's war machine, shattering command structures with precision and fear. Imagine this shocking truth: Moscow, once a fortress of power, now a trap where elite generals ignite in infernos beneath their own tires. Can Putin's vaunted defenses truly crumble so ignominiously? In April 2025, mere months ago, Lieutenant General Yaroslav Mushkalik met his fiery end in Belishkitsa, near the Kremlin's shadow. The stench of burning rubber choked the air, shards of glass scattering like deadly confetti as a car bomb tore through his vehicle. He mirrored Sarvarov, a linchpin in the general staff's operations, neutralized with chilling symmetry. Moscow's safe havens? Illusion shattered, turned into silent hunting grounds where shadows lurk. The slaughter surged on the battlefront. July 2023, a storm shadow missile slammed Berdyansk's command post, blasting Lieutenant General Oleg Tsokov to oblivion. The deafening roar echoed terror, smoke curling from wrecked bunkers as the 58th Army's strategist perished. His loss rippled fear across the southern defenses, a tapestry fraying thread by thread. Then, June 2023, Major General Sergei Gurayevsky was vaporized mid-counteroffensive, another missile shattering skies and hopes in one blinding flash of devastation. Russian skies? No sanctuary. May 2022, over Luhansk, retired Major General Kanamat Badashev defied gravity no more, shot down by a lethal Stinger as he piloted his Su-25 Jetbird for the Wagner mercenaries. Metal screamed against the wind, the aircraft crumpling like foil, flames devouring the cockpit, this aerial predator grounded forever. Even here, generals tasted humiliation's bitter sting. War's dawn intensified the nightmare. Major General Andrei Sukhotolsky, commanding the famed VDV paratroopers, fell to a sniper's ruthless whisper in the early chaos. The crack of the gunshot pierced the dawn, blood warm on dusty ground, exposing cracks in Moscow's armor that yawned wider with each trigger pull. And on came Vladimir Frolov, the Mariupol butcher, Roman Kutuzov, extinguished in Donbass's iron maze, Mikhail Bedkov, shot down in Kursk skies, Pavel Klemenkov, obliterated by a suicide drone's kamikaze kiss in November 2024. Bones rattled in the blast wave, the world spinning in a haze of metal and tragedy. Each life erased left voids that echoed agony, gaps impossible to patch in Russia's fractured hierarchy. So, unravel this grim tableau, what horrors lie beneath? Russia shields no one, not bunker-bound frontline ghosts, not skyfaring aces aloft, not even gilded Moscow elite. Sarvarov's Moscow murder hammers home the savage vow, unleash 1,300 drones on our innocence, we'll unearth the puppet masters, the trigger trainers, right at their doorstep. Panic grips Kremlin's corridors, generals trembling, locks clicking futilely. Yet, does this chain break the bear's spine, or ignite a storm that swallows all? Crowds of fear thicken, how far will the void widen before the Kremlin awakens? In the shadowed heart of Moscow. December 22nd dawned with the sterile chill of winter air biting at your skin. Imagine it, the faint scent of diesel exhaust mingling with frost, the distant rumble of morning traffic echoing like a war's low growl. Russian Lieutenant General Faneel Sarvarov slid into his Kia Sorento, keys jingling softly, engine humming to life. But hidden beneath the metal chassis, under his very seat, lurked a detonator. One flick, and the world flipped. Boom! A thunderous blast tore through the peace, shredding steel and shattering the illusion of safety. Flames licked the asphalt, smoke clogging the streets, as eyewitnesses gasped. Faneel, the strategic mastermind behind Russia's war machine, bled out en route to the hospital. This wasn't random terror, it was retribution, surgically precise from Ukraine's shadows. Flashback, picture the front lines, where 1,300 Russian drones whirred overhead like mechanical vultures, their propellers slicing air, payloads raining on civilian shelters. The acrid stench of burned earth, screams muffled under rubble, the echoes of destruction Sarvarov orchestrated with cold calculations. His doctrines trained killers, turning theory into untold agony. Now, that architect lay broken, his safe zone lay a smoking crater in Moscow's elite district. Rewind to the blast, traffic lulled on Yasin Avenue, a quiet southern vein in the capital's heart. Around 7 a.m., Sarvarov eased forward, unaware of the IED, improvised explosive device, tucked under his car, triggered perhaps by remote or motion. The roar erupted, flinging debris skyward, tires skidding wildly. He clung to life initially, but the wounds proved fatal. Russian investigator spokesperson, Svetlana Petrenko, faced cameras with a veneer of calm, yet her strained voice betrayed sheer terror. She hinted at Ukrainian culprits, confirming the unthinkable, war's reach extended into Putin's backyard, generals eyeing their garages with dread. Born in 1969, Major General Faneel Sarvarov was no mere desk officer, he forged Russia's military instincts. From Ossetia Georgia clashes to Chechen quagmires, Syria's scorched sands to Ukraine's brutal invasion, he scripted tactics, trained troops to strike civilians, obliterate infrastructure. How many souls perished under his plans? Rhetorical, could one man wield such monstrous power? His demise pierced the Russian command like a hidden dagger, crippling their adaptation, eroding their edge. That's when it hits you, a shocking reality, generals once invincible now quake in Moscow luxury, peering from windows, hands trembling at car keys. Sarvarov's assassination unveiled the facade. Ukrainian intelligence whispered, launch 1,300 drones? We'll hunt your puppet master home. Panic rippled through elite ranks, a tidal wave of paranoia. Suddenly, what if your next ride ends in flames? Building on these tremors, focus shifts to the broader carnage. Since Russia's invasion, at least 10 high-profile generals have fallen to Ukrainian strikes, decimated cogs in the war's engine. Start with Lieutenant General Yaroslav Muskolik, blown apart in a Bashika car bomb near Moscow in April 2025, mere months before Sarvarov. Or Lieutenant General Oleg Tsokov, brain of the 58th Army. Vaporized in Berdyansk Storm Shadow missile barrage in July 2023. Major General Sergei Goryachev perished in Ukraine's counteroffensive amid June 2023 clashes. Russia's skies? Vulnerable too. Retired Major General Kanamat Badashev, piloting a Su-25 for Wagner, met a Stinger in Luhansk skies in May 2022. Even airborne units crumbled. Major General Andrei Sukovetsky, commander of VDV paratroopers, felled by a sniper's long-range shot early in the war. The list grinds on. Major General Vitaly Gerasimov in Bakhmut's chaos, Vladimir Frolov in Mariupol's siege, Roman Kutuzov in Donbass, Mikhail Gudkov in Kursk skies, Pavel Klementy via suicide drone in November 2024. So, the inescapable question looms, can Russia safeguard its own icons? War's chaos mocks them, bunkers infiltrated, jets plucked from heavens, urban avenues turned traps. Sarvarov's end amplifies the taunt, Ukrainian agents signaling, your drones terrorize civilians, our ghosts deliver justice. A paralysis grips bureaucracy. Imagine seasoned leaders, paralyzed by fear, stalled decisions amidst whispers of betrayal. As this mayhem spirals, Sarvarov's death shatters training foundations. When the instructor vanishes, learning halts, troops flounder. Yet, beyond tactics, it heralds strategic ruin, security's total breach. Kremlin's investigators admit Ukrainian intel, validating the nightmare, invasion seeps deep into Russia's core. This hybrid warfare blends official ops with partisan shadows, deep cover spies. Networks like the Fire Group in Crimea evolve into vigilant webs, tracking facilities, routines, nests. The bomber's hand? Perhaps a phantom, slipping through voids in Putin's defenses. And what's next? Oligarchs tremble too. Viktor Avrin's accidental drowning near Moscow ties into the turmoil, linked to Putin's kin via crime rings. Generals explode one side, allies drown the other. Friend or foe blurs in chaos, destined to persist. Can the Kremlin stem this tide? What phantom haunts their halls now? As Moscow's embers fade, uncertainty tightens its grip. In Moscow's icy grip, a merciless explosion erased Major General Faneel Sarvarov, the Russian army's tactical genius, on December 22. His car's blast underlined Putin's fractured safety myth, sparking dread among Kremlin elites while drones ravaged afar. Continuing from that reverberating blast, strategic minds in Moscow now crave fortified garages over frontline bunkers. Sarvarov's end, a Kiev-orchestrated strike, exhumes the lie of invincibility. Just ponder, unleash 1,300 drones on innocents? We unearthed the architect midst his city's veins. This ignited a frenzy, generals quivering at ignition sounds, paranoia thick as Moscow fog. Delving deeper, Russia's elite shiver at the vulnerability. Bunkers sway, skies betray, urban sprawls morph into death zones. Sarvarov's demise coincides with a grim tally, 10 elite generals slain, each a vital thread unraveled. Lieutenant General Yaroslav Muskolik succumbed to a Belashika car bomb in April 2025. Lieutenant General Oleg Tsokov fell in a July 2023 Berdyansk missile hit. Major General Sergei Goryachev vanished in June 2023 counterfire. Russia's air weakened too, retired Major General Kanamat Badashev, Wagner ally in an Su-25. Downed by a Stinger over Luhansk in May 2022. Early war saw Major General Andrei Sukovetsky, VDV chief, picked off by a sniper. Others, Vladimir Frolov amid Mariupol horrors, Roman Kutuzov in Donbass, Mikhail Gudkov in Kursk aerials, Pavel Klementy by a November 2024 suicide drone. Could panic impede command? A startling expose, bureaucratic paralysis looms, experienced leaders frozen in doubt. Expanding on this erosion, Sarvarov's loss cripples adaptation. The trainers gone, learning stalls, troops flounder. His Moscow execution exposes security deserts. Investigators implicate Ukrainian intel, admitting war's invasion into Russia's underbelly. Hybrid ops mix services with partisans, spies and visible threads. Fire networks span Crimea, Russia, surveilling sites, paths, habits. The bomb layer? A spectral force, piercing gaps. Broader chaos engulfs, oligarchs targeted too. Viktor Avrin's boat mishap near Moscow, tied to Putin's circle, fuels skepticism. Blasts echo alongside accidents. Loyalty blurs, rifts widen. Will phantoms claim more? The void yawns deeper. Chaotic currents flow on, sowing unseen threats. A storm of chaos is engulfing Russia, where trust vanishes as quickly as the morning fog. Friend or foe, who can be trusted anymore? The air is thick with suspicion, and these uncertainties threaten to paralyze the entire military command. Imagine a seasoned general, too experienced to replace, nervously eyeing his car in the driveway, wondering if a bomb waits beneath. His mind spirals, not in strategy, but in dread. This is the psychological victory that the enemy has already claimed. Across Crimea, sabotage lurks in shadows, railway lines are sliced, tunnels are compromised. Now, Moscow's elite are falling one by one, through high-profile assassinations that whisper a grim warning: your invincibility is a myth. The death of Sarvarov screams this truth into the collective consciousness: Putin cannot protect you. Even on the most secure streets of the capital, safety is an illusion. The war's cost isn't just paid on distant battlefields. It's etched into the very soul of Moscow's power structure. The death of these high-ranking officials fills the air with paranoia, fears ripple through the corridors, knowing the next target could be anyone, anywhere. It's a relentless game of Russian roulette, and no one knows who will be next. Meanwhile, Ukrainian civilians can breathe a little easier, at least for the moment. With Sarvarov's elimination, the mastermind behind Russia's brutal campaigns is gone. The brilliant strategist who orchestrated attacks and trained the invading forces is now silent. That voice of terror is extinguished, and a haunting question looms among the shadows: who will be the next to fall? The explosion over Moscow wasn't just a loss of a general, it marked a shift, a sign of a fading war machine. The once formidable force that struck with thousands of drones can no longer shield its own leaders. Power is slipping through their fingers. Sarvarov's death in a parking lot, planned by Ukrainian intelligence, sent a chilling message: no fortress is truly safe anymore. The Kremlin's illusion of control is unraveling. The forces of chaos are running wild, gripping Moscow in a tightening vice, where every commander must ask, when will it be my turn? The once indomitable Russian war machine is losing its gears, piece by piece. The skies above may darken with thousands of drones, and cities may tremble under the storm. But if their highest generals, those trusted to lead the charge, are vulnerable even in their own capital, then nothing remains secure. The war's true battleground is no longer only in Ukraine. It's inside Moscow itself, where fear now stalks the halls of power, and the echoes of Sarvarov's demise remind everyone: the age of invincibility is over. Imagine crouching in the front of your own car, engine purring softly. The chill Moscow air bites at your skin. Suddenly, a deafening boom tears through the quiet street. Flames lick the pavement. The metal twists like paper. Panic grips you, the driver fights for breath, but the world swallows him whole. In the shadow of the Kremlin, a mastermind of Russian warfare vanishes. That chilling explosion shattered more than just a vehicle. It exposed Putin's iron grip as fragile. Major General Faneel Sarvarov, architect of countless deadly assaults, perished under his own wheels. Born in 1969, he commanded the Russian army's operational training. He orchestrated invasions from Syria to Ukraine. His scenarios targeted civilians, unleashed drones. But now, his fate mirrored his blueprints: precise, lethal retribution. Picture this: on December 22, morning fog clung to Yasinski Avenue. Cars idled. General Sarvarov slid into his Kia Sportage, or wait, was it Kia Sorento? Details blurred in the blast's fury. An IED lurked beneath the chassis, detonated remotely. The shockwave hurled debris. Shards charred the air. The general, slumped over the wheel, gasped his last. Eyewitnesses tasted acrid smoke. The Russian press whispered trauma. Spokesperson Svetlana Petrenko's pallor betrayed Kremlin's dread. She hinted at foreign meddling, Ukraine's shadow long. Sarvarov's demise wasn't random carnage. It decapitated Russia's war doctrine. He wrote the drills for drone barrages, targeting vital Ukrainian arteries. Removing him crippled adaptation. Russian forces, trained by his vision, now falter without guidance. This strike echoed prior hits. Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov fell similarly in December 2024. Moscow streets, once sanctuaries, became traps. Generals now eye their rides warily. The safe zone myth dissolved in gasoline fumes. Flashback to the hybrid warfare crippling Russia. Ukrainian intelligence weaves this web from afar. Local partisans in Crimea, like the Atesh network, surveil tirelessly. They track generals' routines, planting seeds of doom. That bomb under Sarvarov's car? A phantom's deed, exploiting Moscow's porous defenses. Not lone madness, but calculated sabotage. Oligarchs tremble too. Viktor Avrin's boat mishap, linked to Putin's kin, reeks of chaos. Deaths mount. Who trusts whom now? Russian elites dodge phantom assassins. This paralysis seeps into bureaucracy. Experienced generals, irreplaceable minds, hesitate at every ignition key. The psychological war rages. Partisans derail trains. Rails groan under explosives. High-profile killings puncture invulnerability. The message screams, you can't shield your elite from guns and ghosts. Power erodes by attrition. Recall the slain commanders, at least 10 top generals eliminated. Lieutenant General Yaroslav Moskalkov bombed in Balashikha near Moscow, April 2025, his operations prowess gone. Lieutenant General Oleg Tsokov vaporized by storm's shadow in Berdyansk, 2023. Major General Sergei Goryachev fell during counteroffensives. Air Force losses, Major General Kanamat Badashev shot down over Luhansk, 2022. Snipers claimed Major General Andrei Sokovetsky early on. Major General Vladimir Frolov, butcher of Mariupol. Lieutenant General Roman Kutuzov in Donbass. Major General Mikhail Gudkov shot in Kursk. Major General Pavel Klemenko by drone in November 2024. Each void hardens back lines. Ukraine's precision humiliates Russia. While 1,300 drones bombard civilians, their maestro meets destiny on home turf. Panic brews behind fortified walls. Fierce stench mingles with coffee in gilded offices. A coup d'état in collegiate form. Psych warfare wins unseen battles. Strategically, this infiltrates Russia's core. War morphs from trenches to taps. Assassinations erode resolve. Ukrainian ghosts haunt Moscow's alleys. No bunker hides from this tide. Elite drown in paranoia. Russia's guns roar louder, but minds fracture. Sarvarov's vacancy fuels dread. Who pens the next doctrine? Who escapes the list? Twist of the sword, anomalies mount. Technological breakdowns plague Russian weapons. Drones waver, guided by flawed code from slain strategists. Sanctions bite deeper. Internal fractures widen, amplified by these targeted blows. Epic finale unfolds, as winter's grip tightens Moscow, another shadow flits. Whispers of a captured agent, Ukrainian mole in the heart of the Kremlin, unearth damning files. Not just generals, but war's architects crumble. The shocking revelation, Sarvarov's plans include falsified intel to lure Ukraine into traps. Exposed now, it backfires recklessly. Russia spirals into isolation, allied falters sighing. The twist? A defection from Putin's inner circle, spilling secrets that ignite revolutions at home. Paranoia begets betrayal. Ukraine.